Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Now SGA probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We are part of the God, it's been so long, I forgot. We are part of the Believe Network, and this podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. And we're putting that over Cone's head today because, we got to. But as you can see, joining today is Alex and Cone. As you can see, it's been a little bit since we got into a little pod action, a little rusty. Holiday season, coming on. Everybody had a good holiday. Alex, do you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, man, of course, man. I got to spend time with family. Got to eat food. There's nothing better than that.
Absolutely.
And the Thunder won the whole time we were on break.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Thunder stays winning. Cone, our resident Cowboys fan, he had a great Thanksgiving because his Cowboys.
It's so because I was just out. I was like, it's over and it's fine. Like that's nice because then I can just focus on the Thunder and all that stuff. And unfortunately, like I told you earlier, Dylan, they've dragged me back in, and now I have a little bit of hope, and it's annoying. So it's 50-50. I'm just glad to beat the Eagles. But if they lost the Chiefs, I'm like, okay, the season's over. It wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. So yeah, it's. They just always let me down. Like the Thunder don't. The Thunder, like they get the job done. They do what they have to do. But that's the issue with being the Cowboys. That's why I'm glad I'm a Thunder fan, because the Cowboys can go ahead and let me down all they want, and it's like it's fine because I have the Thunder.
Absolutely. So. And actually, I think that me, Alex, and Moles did like a 3-pick parlay for the Thanksgiving games. I think we had the Lions, Cowboys, and Ravens. So. Is Cowboys the only one we got right? Did the Bengals? No, the Ravens beat the Bengals, right?
I have no idea.
I think they did. I don't know.
No, the Ravens lost.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I picked the Cowboys. I'm the only one that got it right. So, Alex and Mole, step your game up.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, hopefully you didn't tell that. But in the future, whenever we put out some parlays, be sure to tell. Basketball's our forte. We'll lean on that. So
yeah, football not at all.
Absolutely not. But hey, fellas, as I said, we're here to talk about the Thunder. Since we last podcasted, as Alex said, we haven't lost a game. It has been the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers, Part 3. Portland Trailblazers Part 3. We're not going to do single large item because, this is just kind of like a pregame podcast before we do our super late tip-off at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the East Coasters here, me and Cone, myself, it's a freaking late tip-off, so we're not going to stay up and podcast afterwards. We're talking now. So
week.
I mean, I'll be up until like 4 a.m. working on videos.
Cone will be up. Absolutely. I
will be up.
By the time the game is over, I will have to be up in like 3 hours. So it's not going to work for me.
Those coast to coast Tuesday NBC games get late. They be getting late.
It's tough. And they don't start at 11 either. Like it starts at like 11:30.
Yeah. Do you think they'll continue that next season? Because I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. It's late.
You have like a 30-minute gap between the first game and the second game.
Yeah, like I feel like we could easily do a 7 and a 10:30 at least. Like
that's what
even
they did
then,
before.
or like 7:30 and 10. Like that's 2.5 hours is enough time for a basketball game, especially when they start like 15 minutes late, sometimes nationally televised anyways. Like if it runs a little bit late in the first game, because it's NBC and Peacock, like you could be like, oh, we're continuing the game over on Peacock. This one's on NBC if you want to catch the end of this. I don't know. I think first year they wanted to try it out, but 11 is just so late. Like, again, I'm going to be up. Like, that's the hours that I work and do stuff at anyways. But
that's when Cone thrives.
Yeah, that's where I thrive. But, especially for, like, the average person who wants a normal sleep schedule, that's just a lot. Like, 11's late.
Yeah, like, I think that I will make it to halftime. If I can make it past halftime, I'm good for the game. But halftime is usually when I tap out involuntarily.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and see Shea hit a game winner. So
you just gotta be standing, man. Just stand up the whole time.
Stand the whole time, yeah. Dude, I will fall asleep standing up. You know me. I can
That's
fall asleep
crazy.
in the most crazy positions. So
I
will fall
guess I
asleep
guess
standing.
so. But that's crazy to fall asleep standing up.
Holding a chicken tender.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not my kids. Calm down. Anyways, in the chat we got Andrew. He said, as a Ravens fan, they always disappoint, and we got smacked. Sorry for your loss, man. At least you're here. Hopefully, you're a Thunder fan. We got our guy TJ, the artist formerly known as T. Hey, it's my guys. T. Love to see it, man. By the way, since T is here, I know T's fond of draft coverage. We're going to be having the Tylers of No Ceiling, Tyler Metcalf and Recker, on the podcast on Friday to preview the draft, which, we're going to talk about later in the podcast. As soon as we can get into Thunder content, I keep teasing so many other things. But it's crazy draft coming up, and the Thunder have a lot of different possibilities. So we're going to dive into Tylers.
For the first time in a while, man, just straight hyped for this draft.
Yeah, a possibility of number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Clippers aren't bad. They suck. They're just awful.
They're awful. They're hopeless.
That might be a little bit optimistic.
All right, guys, let's talk about the Thunder. It's 6 minutes in the pod. I keep derailing. Let's talk about the Thunder. We played the Suns. We played the Trailblazers. We don't got to go single or item, but I mean, I'll just kind of tee us off. The big story for these two games is the return of Jalen Williams. And, you could say, there's some other big stories here, but this is kind of the overarching story that we've had since the start of the season. They're doing all this without their second best player. He's here. Obviously, it's a little slow. He's being reintegrated into the offense. What are your thoughts from the first two games of Jalen Williams? And just kind of what's your big picture thoughts? We'll start with Alex.
I just thought I thought he did a good job of not messing up the rhythm. He came in there and he was, like he said this post game, I think after the Phoenix game, where he said that he didn't want to come in here and mess up any rhythm. So he came in here and just played. He was a playmaker. So I think the first game he had 8 assists,
Yeah.
1 turnover. And so when you're talking about somebody reintegrating into the flow of the team, like jumping onto a moving train, as the organization likes to say, I think he did a great job of just integrating into there. His shot will come. He has to get his legs under him. He has to get that rhythm on his jumper and things like that. And he's doing what he has to do. Like these next couple of games are going to be basically preseason for him. Even though the intensity is ratcheted up to regular season, and he's going to be playing during the NBA Cup, and so he's going to have to perform. But with that said, he still draws attention, and he knows that he can go ahead and draw enough attention to get the ball to his teammates, who happen to be open. There were some great passes from J-Dub to Chet. Just great passes being sprayed all around, and he just did a great job integrating himself back into the team. The jump shot will come. The wrist will heal up. He'll learn how to deal with whatever little residual pain he has there. But yeah, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think the best thing was to see that, sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of play into game shape a little. He was getting to his spots, especially getting downhill. That he was just kind of missing layups that we know Dub always hits. There were a couple times where he got blocked by somebody. It's he was like, whoa, that was a little bit faster than I expected. So he's still kind of still getting up to game speed a little bit, but he's getting to his spots. Really, that's all that matters. I'm so confident in J-Dub as a shooter and a finisher, especially. He's gonna be perfectly fine. But the playmaking was great to see. You absolutely love to see that. And the defense, he is still wreaking havoc out there. He's not at all, being a little bit timid. He's swatting shots, full force, everything like that. The wrist itself looks good. I'm not at all worried that it's going to be something lingering, that it's going to affect him long term. It feels very encouraging. The playmaking was great, especially like Alex said, to Chet specifically, which is helpful because with Isaiah Hartenstein now out for a little bit, that was one of the things that's really started to develop is their chemistry, the passing big to big. And now with Dub out there playing alongside Chet, you want to keep that 4 to 5 chemistry going. It's a big part of the system we've started to develop more so this season. And yeah, it's just nice to see that they've still got that chemistry there. He's only taken 1 3 in the 2 games and he swished it, and it was a really good looking 3. So, not really worried about the outside jumper at all. Maybe he just shoots 100% for 3 on the season. But yeah, all the little stuff will come, but I'm not worried at all. It's Dub. We know what Dub is capable of. It's just really good to see him back. And it's still I'm still adjusting to seeing him out there. Like I got so used because we played 20 games or so without
Yeah.
him. I'm like, oh yeah, we also have this all NBA, all defensive guy who's coming back too, which is crazy to see.
Yeah.
It's our early season acquisition.
Yeah, it's the same thing as our trade deadline acquisition of Chet last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Best acquisition in the league, baby. Yeah, TJ says he's still got his baby lungs.
Yeah.
For sure. He's trying to get back to, like we said, this is a reacclimation period for Dub. Reacclimation period and finding his rhythm with the team, reacclimation period and finding the rhythm with his shot, and reacclimation period with finding his conditioning. But the one thing, I'm glad Cone pointed it out because that's what I was going to talk about, is his defense is something that, from jump, it was almost like you just plucked him from last year. He looked like that same guy. And, I talk about, I've talked about a few times, anytime a guy's gone through injury, I play pickup hoops and, I don't get to play as much as I used to. So, if I'm out for a couple months, the shot gets rusty. Sometimes I'm not going to be able to make the shot. I'm not going to be in rhythm because I haven't played in a long time. One thing I can always rely on is my effort, my hustle, and my defense. And that's something that is just a constant. So obviously much higher level for Dub. But while he is trying to get in rhythm on offense, while he's trying to get a shot back on offense and integrate himself with the team, one thing that he knows his role and knows a way that he's going to be effective for the team is by just being an absolute demon on the defensive end. And from jump, man, that's what he's done both games. So very excited to see Dub back in the lineup. And we can't have everything that we want because, as Dub is back, now iHeart's missing time. Lou Dort's out tonight. Caruso's missing some time. We've got some nicks and bruises of the regular season that we're dealing with now. I think iHeart's out for a couple weeks. So still going to be a couple weeks, but that'll be a couple weeks that, Dub, as I said, reintegrating himself in the lineup. But also Chet will be at the 5. And now we have 2 games of Dub in the lineup and Chet at the 5, which is a lot of the lineup that we saw that was kind of our fastball, specifically in the postseason, because we love iHeart. He's been awesome this season. He was good in spots last year. The postseason, he didn't have his best. He wasn't doing this in the postseason. It felt like his play dropped off. So our fastball was still Dub and Chet 4 and 5. What has been your takeaways so far at, in the 2-game sample size of the 4 or 5, specifically on the Chet side, being the main 5 cone?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely still feels like an adjustment. I don't think Chet's defense throughout the season has been as good as it was sometimes we saw in the finals run. He's still been really good defensively, but I think that's he's really kind of found this season the offensive rhythm at the 4 spot. And I think defensively really started to find it too. It feels like at the 5, he's still getting there a little bit, figuring out exactly his timing, having to be the main rim protector in a lot of these lineups. But he still has had a number of blocks, huge game-changing defensive plays. He's still insane, but I think as time comes along and he gets more and more reps being like, okay, this is what it's like at the 5. Because even last year, when he came back, it's full-time 4. They would run some, Chet off, but with Hartenstein now out, he got so used to playing with iHeart, now it's a readjustment. A lot of this season is going to be readjusting, figuring out roles, and honestly, that's really good to get these experiments and get a lot of the experience you need in all these different settings, different contexts before, a playoff run where now we're the NBA champions, we're hunted, teams are gonna, obviously they were always throwing us their best shot, but even more so now it's we got to really gun and come out guns blazing against the Thunder. Coaches are going to come up with all these game plans. It's why we play, guys in these lineups, and people are like, why are we playing this lineup? It's not very good. It's to get a sample size and get reps. So if we need to use that lineup, or if there's a context we found out it works in, then we can employ it in the playoffs. And I think ultimately, it sucks that iHeart is out for a little bit, but I'm very happy that we're going to continue to see some Chet at the 5 reps because that's going to be a weapon we need to utilize. If we need to run a little bit more 5 out, have some more shooting out there, and putting Chet at that 5 spot obviously allows that. So yeah, I've liked a lot of what I've seen. I have really liked, again, that Dub to Chet playmaking, that 4 to 5. That's really what I want to continue to see is because Chet's been moved to the 5. He cannot be phased out of the offense at all. We are by far our best when Chet continues to get these opportunities and he himself stays aggressive. And so far that's been the case, which is perfect. It's nice to see that he's not okay, now I have to be a little bit more rim protector, fade into the background, Dub comes back. He's just staying the Chet that we've seen so far, and that's huge.
What I like to do is when I'm thinking about Chet and Dub at the 4-5 is I like to take the first 9 games of last season, cut out everything from the Chet injury, cut out the playoff run, and then cut out the first 18 games of this year, and then bookend it with these last 2 games. And what I see is I see a Chet that is ready and primed to be more of a focal point on the offensive end. Because we saw that in the first 9 games last year before he got hurt, and then we've seen that throughout this season. But we've seen that in these last 2 games where I think he scored like 23 and 19 over these last couple of games. And so like integrating Dub into the picture is probably a lot easier with Chet out there being healthy, Chet out there being, the normal Chet, the healthy Chet that we saw last season in the first 9 games, and the normal Chet that we've seen, this whole year. And so whenever you talk about looking at that 4-5 of Chet and Dub, I like to see it in that prism instead of looking at, the entire playoff run, because the entire playoff run, if you read that article from Anthony Slater that he put out today, he was hurt. I mean, he came back. He came back quick in order to help the Thunder, on their playoff run and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
he still, he said himself that he looked slow. He felt slow, and so I like to look at it from that prism of the first 9 games of last year and then these last 2 games now. And I think it makes for a great offense as far as like having 3 options that can get a bucket whenever they want, and having 3 options that can play make and and be unselfish whenever they want. So
Yeah, and everything you guys said, like offensively, like that was something that I harped on a lot last year. It was like it felt like specifically when Chet was brought back into the lineup. We talked about the reintegration period for Dub. We didn't really see that with Chet. It always felt like he was kind of a bystander on offense, and it feels like the Thunder made a point for that not to happen this year. I remember like specifically early in the season, like there were stretches where like Chet would score our first 7-9. I think he scored our first like 15 points against the Rockets in the opening game of this year. So like there's there's a point of emphasis to get him more involved on offense, and I'm glad to see that as Dub is back, we're not pulling the reins on Chet. Like Chet is still being that same guy that we saw early on in the season, while also letting Dub accentuate the team with his strengths as well. Something that I've been really impressed to see is just working on the glass. Like he only had 8 and 9 rebounds in these 2 games, but like if you see, he's battling for these boards. And there's he came up with some really tough ones down the stretch, specifically in that Portland Trailblazers game, which somehow Denny Avdia had 19 rebounds. He had like 12 at halftime. I just looked up the box score. I was like, what? I think Mark Williams had 1 million rebounds too in the game before that, but that's not just a Chet stat. That's a team stat. Like, it's on the team to also box out, their guys, box out and create rebound opportunities for Chet. Like Chet can't get those rebounds by himself. So I've been pleased with his effort. Offensively, he's been awesome. I agree with you defensively. Like he's not where he was last year. And you can see that in his block numbers. If nothing else, just like he's still a staunch rim projector in terms of like him just being a deterrent, but he's not putting up the numbers that he was last year. And now that Dub's back in the lineup, maybe once Dub comes back and iHeart comes back, we get to see Chet just kind of like be unleashed as like this just fearsome roamer. But that remains to be seen. And but hey, I'm excited to see it.
I will say this. I will say this about Chet. So while his counting stats don't necessarily reflect, a great defensive season,
right?
Every advanced metric points to the fact that he has been one of the best defenders in the league. And when you combine that with the team defense that we're playing, it's just head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
Right. Yeah, I think he's still the favorite for defensive player of the year.
He's favorite for DPOY right now. And yeah, I think like those block numbers are something that's going to come up with him more in that 5 context. Like it's hard when we have a team that is so good at stopping from anybody getting downhill. And iHeart's the main rim protector, and we've got all these guys in passing lanes. Like, it's just hard to kind of rack up numbers. Like, steals and blocks and stuff are going to be down across the board for basically everybody on this team for the most part because everybody's getting them. And yeah, I think we're going to see those block numbers really start to climb with Chet at the 5 here in these games where iHeart isn't playing. And it does also sound like when even when iHeart comes back, now that Dub is back, we're going to see more Chet at the 5. That's going to be a lineup they run a little bit more, which is cool. I mean, it's super cool now that we can, if we want to stagger Dub and Chet or Shea and Chet, and then the other one with Isaiah Hartenstein, like having those duos, it's just crazy that we can have that primary creator and that level of big, and then you throw in the defenders that we can, and like AJ. I hope AJ gets to keep playing with Shea as much as he does because that duo is lethal. Like, it's crazy, man. The depth and the ability to just mix and match just elite pieces on this team. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and then the other big thing that I want to talk about with these two games is just how freaking ridiculous Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is. Like, obviously, what he does, like counting stats wise, like it's awesome. He's putting up MVP numbers. His efficiency's off the chart. He's shooting better from three than he ever has. But you talk about a guy who has sat out more than half of the fourth quarters of the season so far, leading the league by a mile in clutch points. And like just looking at these two games, the Thunder Shai played in 11 minutes in two fourth quarters combined. In those 11 minutes, he scored 25 points. He scored 15 in 6 minutes against the Suns. He scored 10 in 5 minutes against the Trailblazers. And, people want to point like, 5 free throws against the Suns. Like, he shot 2 free throws against the Blazers, and they were intentional foul free throws. Like, he's getting straight buckets. Like, he's getting to his spots. He's getting wherever he wants. He's finishing through contact, whether they're calling it or not. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to the mid. The step back, the punch dribble step back is undefeated. Like, that is his go-to, and he can get that over anybody. And yeah, man, he's just been absolutely phenomenal. And like specifically the Blazers game, a game where he was struggling. A lot of people, were again freaking out if he was going to extend the streak with the 20-point streak. And granted, like he had 16 going into the fourth quarter. So, I had pretty good confidence he was going to get to 20 points, but it's not very often Shai has 16 points going into the fourth quarter. So like this was a game that he was struggling mightily, but he was able to turn it around. I think he shot 4 or 5 from the field at that point in the fourth quarter from those 5 minutes and get those 10 points. And yeah, man, Shai's insane.
I'm enjoying a little bit of asshole Shai. Like he's becoming a little bit of a, not trash talking, but like once he hits those like back-breaking shots, like he'll be a lot more demonstrative than he has been in the past. And he'll be demonstrative towards his own bench. He won't necessarily, do it towards
unless it's Chris Paul's kid.
Yeah, unless it's Chris Paul's kid, but that's different. That's family right there. But yeah, man, like he's been, I feel like him winning the championship has allowed him to be a little bit more relaxed with who he is out there on the court and what he does out there on the court. And I think you're just starting to see that, man. You're starting to see a player that now is like, I've already won my championship. A whole bunch of other players haven't, in my class and in my, my same kind of like weight class. And it's just like, I'm here to get number 2. I'm here to get number 3. I'm here to get number 4. So bring it.
Yeah, I mean, he's by far the clutch player of the year right now, which is crazy because he hasn't played that many games. And I think that's the only thing that could keep him out of that conversation. But I mean, right now it's really not even close. Like, we take a look at clutch numbers. I'm pulling them up real quick again. Let's see. We'll go back to, okay. So clutch total points on the season. Shai right now is at 80, which is 13 more than Cade Cunningham in 4 less games. He's got 80. Cade has 67. Shai shooting 52.4% from the field, 35% from 3, 31 of 37 from the free throw line, 9 assists, 8 boards. Only 1 turnover is actually so insane in that context too. I feel like that's not talked about enough. I've seen some people bring up the free throws. It's not that many more than any of the other guys towards the top. Plus, he's like the best free throw shooter, so of course he's the one we get the ball to. And I want to go back and like hand track those free throws to see what the numbers look like in terms of intentional fouls versus actually getting fouled. But that's something I still need to do. But yeah, only 1 turnover, 3 steals, 2 blocks. just ridiculous stuff, like mind-blowing levels of efficiency. And we're 8-1 in those games. Of course, the only loss being to the Portland Trailblazers, but like double OT win over the Rockets, over the Pacers at the beginning of the year. Every time, down the stretch against the Suns and the other game against the Blazers, like if it's close, Shea's just going to go ahead and slam the door shut. Like it's been not even a conversation at all. He's been by far the most clutch player in the league. And that's another thing that you can add towards his MVP case. And it'd be cool to see Shea go out there and grab a clutch player of the year award in addition to a second MVP, just continue to build out the trophy case a little bit. But it's an agenda that I'm pushing very heavy right now because I think people are kind of seeing with Shea that the MVP is right there again for him. And especially if we win like 70 plus games and he stays at this rate, like there's no way he doesn't get it. So I'm like, hey, don't forget about clutch player of the year too. Like let's do both of them. So hopefully he can go ahead and pull those out. But it's so crazy, man. Like Shea you'll be like, oh, Shea's not playing that well. Like he's missing a few layups here and there, and he finishes with like 35, 5, and 6 on 50% shooting. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's how it was in the Phoenix game.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, oh, he's having an okay game. You look up at the end of the game, it's like 35, 38 points.
Yeah, on 50% shooting, he's like 3 of 5 from 3, and it's like at like a 65 true shooting percentage. You're like, okay, yeah, whatever, man. I guess you got. He was missing layups, and it's like, what is going on with Shea? And then the end of the game, he's drilling step back threes and the toughest middies you've ever seen, which were needed because Royce O'Neal was banking in threes. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Phoenix has been like really, really solid this season, so shout out to them. But yeah, it's crazy, and it's nice, it's we don't get complacent, we don't get rusty at all in these clutch situations because we haven't played much of them this season. It's like we get to that moment and it's like riding a bike, flipping a switch. It's like, okay, Shea's gonna go ahead and take over now and just wreck everybody. And part of that comes with handling double teams better, pressure when they send those like they're hedging over screens and things like that, trying to trap Shea. He's gotten really good at kicking it to the next guy, and then they go ahead and swing it over to someone else for a three. And it's just the team's got this really good chemistry about them to the point where now you can't really send the double at Shea because it's just not effective anymore.
Yeah, no, it's got to the point where I think it was Steve Jones or Nikias Duncan. I can't remember which one it was. It said that used to teams would result to going zone against the Thunder or blitzing Shea at half court. And now the Thunder and Shea just laugh whenever that happens because it's like, I figured you out basically. Like it's he's taking that next step. And
remember that Wolves game last year when it happened and we blew that big lead and everybody's like, oh my God, they figured out the Thunder. Yeah. And then for a month straight, every team just threw that at us. Like that's so sick. You love to see that because now you get all these reps of it and teams still try to do it, but it never works. Like it just isn't, it doesn't work anymore.
It's like, I think it was either, I don't think it was a Portland game. I think it might have been the Phoenix game where Phoenix ran a zone and the guy at the nail was Shea. Shea turned around and it was the vision of the world just in front of him. Like he could take the shot, he could, dish it out. Like they're doing things. They're exploring different avenues of doing things to where like when it comes to the playoffs and they run a junk defense, they run a zone, they run, they double team Shea, we're going to know how to go ahead and combat that.
And that's what's so big with having AJ and now Dub back. Like the more guys you can have that can bring up the ball against that zone, and then you put Shea like kind of in that weak middle and get him that, and then he can create anything from there, or even slide him to the corner a little bit and have him run off a screen and just throw the whole zone into chaos. Like the more ball handlers you get, it's not only breaking down the defense, but it's allowing you to do a lot more with Shea that makes him more versatile. And that's part of why, having Dub back is so big and having AJ show the development that he has. And he was really good. I think it was the Suns game where AJ went crazy.
I think he got hurt that game.
Yeah, or was that the game he got hurt?
He got hurt in the Suns game. Because I actually got a bet protect from FanDuel on my bet, and I won a parlay off that. So
it was the Blazers game, 17, 5 and 5. 5 of 9 from the floor. Yeah, AJ was really good in that game. He just continues to be great, man. He's in that I guess not really MIP conversation because they never give it to second year guys, but sixth man of the year. He's still in that conversation, man.
Yeah. Real quick before we move off Shea, I just wanted to talk about how, Conan, I talked to you about like how I think that people are trying to like find narratives to not give Shea the MVP. And like one of the narratives that they brought up a lot last year that even feels more credible this year is the fact that the Thunder have a super team and Shea is quote unquote carried by the super team. And I even listened to some podcasts over the weekend, some prominent basketball podcasts, like, Ringer, Athletic, whatever. And they were talking about, like, when I think of the Thunder, I'm thinking of their defense first and foremost, even before Shea at this point, because, like, the defense is their superpower and that's what they're carrying them. But what people don't understand is without Shea, it would almost just be the defense. Like, sure, like, we could probably get by. We could be like a play-in team with, just like a Dub and AJ offense. But, like, when you have a guy that is the offensive engine like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy that can go get you 30 whenever you want to, a guy that can dissect zones, dissect, blitzes, doubles, anything that a defense throws at you while protecting the basketball better than anybody ever has. And then when it puts you in a position in the third quarter to the point where you don't have to play fourth quarters, and if for some reason you're in the fourth quarter, oh, he's the best in the planet. It's like, I think that a clutch player of the year would go far in just people understanding Shea's worth to the team, because, like, obviously he won the MVP, but there was a lot of people that were saying, oh, he robbed Jokic. That was Jokic's award. It was his best year of his career. He should have won MVP, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of why I think that a lot of people are going to try to look for any reason they can to discredit this season from Shea to give it to Jokic, who, again, is having a phenomenal year, at least offensively. Shout out to our guy TJ saying Jokic is the deep way at this point. Obviously sarcastic. But I think that that is important, in terms of, like, the Shea, for lack of a better term, propaganda of it all. But
I mean, it's also like something people don't talk about enough with the defense is Shea's also a really good defender. Like, you can't have the best defense ever if you have a weak link, and we don't have a weak link because Shea's not a weak link while scoring over 30 a night. And also, it goes a long way in having a good defense if you're not giving up transition opportunities with turnovers. And the fact that Shea doesn't turn the ball over and creates this hyper efficient offense where we're always getting a shot up and we're always able to set our defense and not really running back all the time. Like, that is such an underrated part of having an elite defense. People talk about all these players you could sub in for Shea and the Thunder would still be this good. There's nobody in basketball where you could sub them in and that we would be doing what we're able to do with Shea. There's just nobody.
Yeah, my most hated tweet that I got this week was I took a video of Shea playing, like, just dogged defense on Devin Booker in the Cup game. And I just put in a little tweet that said something like, does your team's MVP candidate play defense? No, I didn't think so. And, like, the amount of hate that I get from that, because their MVP candidates don't. Like, the only one on that text thread that actually made sense was a Spurs fan that was like, my guy does. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Hopefully your guy comes back and he's played enough games and he can be, he can catapult himself back into contention as far as Wemby goes. But, you look at Luka, you look at Jokic, there's a whole nother side of the floor of the court that they don't play on that much. And that, it captures, the camera captures them not playing defense. The camera captures them, not helping their team out on that end of the floor. And you saw that, I think it was the loss to, who did Denver lose to? That
They lost to Dallas last night.
Dallas, yeah. Where, like, the defensive film on Jokic was just embarrassing. Like, as far as him just letting guys go by. Andrew Nemhart, or is it Andrew?
Brian Nemhart.
Yeah.
It's his brother, right?
Brian Nemhart, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a career high 28.
He had 25,
points.
and he's the first player ever to have 25, 10 dimes, no turnovers, and 100 true shooting percentage or better in a game.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
and that
it was
all,
it was unbelievable.
Matador defense. Like, hey, go right ahead. Go right ahead. So, yeah, man, like, a complete player is when you're talking about an MVP, you want a guy that's a complete player. Somebody like Giannis. Giannis is a complete player. And so Shea has kind of taken that mantle, man. He's kind of running with it. And the good thing is, like, most of the MVP voters are NBA smart people.
Yeah.
There are some voters that are just media members, that whatever, but there are a lot of NBA smart people, and NBA smart people, for the most part, they take defense into account. And so that's what's going to help Shea if this continues on throughout the season.
Yeah, and I do want to point out, as Cam was talking about, Shea being the runaway for clutch player of the year, I agree he should be. But if you look at FanDuel right now, he is actually second.
Behind?
plus 470 right now. So you might
It's got to be Cade.
It's Cade. Yeah, you
Mm.
you can get some good value there.
Cade's
plus
also been
270.
really good. I think it's probably taken into account that Shea has played less games and that, how many clutch games are the Thunder going to play the rest of the way. But, I mean, you don't got to, like, if Shea's running away, I think it speaks maybe more to how clutch he is if he doesn't have to play that many games and he's still leading in clutch points. I definitely think Cade, if it's not Shea, I think it's going to be Cade, but Shea's been the guy. It's so funny. I've been doing like Thunder post game recaps, like quick ones on TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff recently. And I made one. I called Shea the clutch player of the year. I think it was after the Portland game. And one guy's like, no, it's Cade. Cade leads in fourth quarter scoring by like this margin and he does this and that. And I was like, and he's like, how could Shea be clutch player of the year? And I said, well, Shea leads by far in clutch points. And the dude goes, what is that? He goes, Cade's leading the fourth quarter. I was like, how are you going to debate me on clutch player of the year if you don't even know what the stats, like specifically just the person who has won clutch player of the year the past couple years? It's like who puts up the most clutch points on like a good decent percentage and has like some big moments. Like that's the whole award. And that is what Shea has done so far. Like I just don't know how you're going to debate who's clutch player of the year, and then you literally ask me what is clutch points. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Like that's the whole award. That's what the thing is.
Right, man. Alex bleeped off like the worst possible time. I was about to say
I'm right here, man. I'm right here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was about to say I got to tuck AJ back in. He got up out of bed. So I want you guys to talk about this guy because if I talk about him, it's probably it would be taken as self-serving because of where he played college basketball. But reigning defensive player of the month, Cason Wallace, just wax poetic while I'm gone.
Yeah, I mean, Queso's, it's crazy, man. The disruption that he brings, a third-year guard, like defensive player of the month is like that is a big award. There are some
I didn't even know it was an award. I had no idea.
It's very new. It's very new. I think last year was the first year they did it.
It's very niche.
It is very niche, but we take those awards.
Yeah, of course.
And it's cool to see because I mean, again, like he's a guard. Like we're talking about like all these bigs and these great defensive players, and like there's like a Rudy Gobert, of course, and like Jamie Daniels over in Minnesota, and Victor Wembanyama didn't end up playing that many games, but even on our own team, like all these great defenders, and Cason's the guy that gets the recognition. It's super awesome. Like it's great to see because Cason should be a lock for all defensive first team 1,000%. He should be unanimous if it keeps going this way. So it's good to see that he's being acknowledged in that way. I mean, he's got some of the best hands I've ever seen.
And great job by the NBA to point out the stats that kind of gave him that award for this month, where it was lead the league in steals, lead the league in deflections. Like those are the type of disruptive things that create an all defensive player, a defensive player of the year. There was a podcast a couple weeks ago that I think I was on with Focus and Dolan, and one of my questions was, I think it came off the heels of Cason guarding Ja Morant, Steph Curry, and Luka in basically consecutive nights and putting up, doing great jobs and leading to the Thunder having blowout wins. And I was like, what would it take for Cason to be considered in that list of players for defensive player of the year? You have Chet, of course. And that's a problem. Like you may literally have teammates that take votes away from each other, but when you think about defensive player of the year, is Chet. I don't really know of too many other players outside of the Thunder. Maybe Bam Adebayo, maybe
Scotty
Barnes. But once you get past those, like Dyson Daniels hasn't had a season comparable to last year. And so I could definitely see Cason, if he continues like this, if Lou has one of these kind of like not necessarily injured seasons, but one of these seasons where like he has knick-knack stuff happening to him like he has this year, and Cason gets a lot more starts, gets a lot more, views on star players as far as how he defends them. Like I could see him kind of start to crawl up defensive player of the year list, especially like you start to get somebody like Zach Lowe, somebody like that, pitches a story on him or pitches something about him, a stat on him, and I could see that kind of start to work up throughout the season.
Yeah, right now he's no. I'm checking current odds stuff. I don't even see him listed. at the moment.
He's number 11 on FanDuel now.
He's number 11
I
on
will say
FanDuel?
Alex
Okay.
has been early on this. If you guys have been listening, he's been saying Casey Wallace should be Defensive Player of the Year,
Mash it.
number one with a
Mash it.
bullet. And
Which is
I've been
fair.
saying Alex, he's tied with like the last place of like possible odds at plus 50,000. Alex is like, hammer it, man, mash it. Like that's great value. And now he's jumped up to 11. He's at plus 5,000. So you missed your opportunity. But
hey, there's still 5,000 still a lot. Like there's still a chance, man. I would love to see Casey get it. I feel like guards don't get enough love when it comes to defense.
Yeah, of course.
But with it being a perimeter league more now than ever, and the Thunder defense is chaos. It is being smart. It is using, contact to your advantage, as well as, stripping the ball, poking it away, forcing bad shots. I wish deflections were something that was more accessible as like a box score stat, because I think that would go a long way towards a guy like Kaysen being in that type of conversation. Because obviously,
stack up there.
What's up?
Where does he stack up on that?
He might lead the league. I think he leads the league in deflections this season. But let me go ahead and
last year.
Yeah, let me check that. NBA.com should have it.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. But I think he should. All right. Deflections per game. He's third in deflections per game. He's third in deflections total. He's behind Dyson Daniels and Ryan Rollins in both those stats.
Ryan Rollins, my guy.
Yeah, but Ryan Rollins is obviously, Ryan Rollins is a starter. Dyson's a starter. Like if it's per game, it's 5.4 for Dyson, 5.3 for Ryan Rollins, and 5 for Kaysen, while playing less minutes than those guys. So,
is Kaysen not a starter? Kaysen's a starter.
He's a start, but he's not. It's not like full minutes. It's 33.8 for Dyson. It's 32 for Ryan Rollins. It's 28.6 for Kaysen. So he's a little bit below them on the totem pole. Like they're like lock starters. Kaysen is like, depending on the health of the team, he might start some games, he might not. Injury report, by the way, or some stuff is coming out for the Warriors right now.
I saw Jimmy's playing.
Yeah, Jimmy's playing, Draymond's playing, Trace Jackson-Davis is out. Not that he would really play much anyways against us. But yeah, like that's I wish it was they got some cool stats on here. Like they've got like defensive loose balls recovered. They've got like loose balls recovered per game, which is a pretty cool stat. But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff like on the hustle section. I wish these were stats that were more readily accessible to people, because I feel like this is, when we're talking defensive player of the year, this is stuff that should come up a bit more than it's like, oh, how many steals and blocks do you have? And like obviously those are a big deal, but there's a lot more that goes into it. So
yeah,
right. And as you mentioned, the Warriors injury report came out. We are going to do a short little preview for this game right after a word from our sponsors. And we are here with a word from our sponsors. Guys, we're sponsored by FanDuel. If you couldn't tell by the logo over Combs' head and the multiple name drops during the podcast, I do have to – I wanted to point this out. I was trying to get this the last podcast that Alex and Moles was on with me, but I couldn't find it. So I found it now. It is under the NBA records tab. Guys, the Thunder are plus 580 to break the NBA record for regular season wins at 74 wins.
That's so crazy. Only plus 540 to win 74 basketball games.
That means if you bet 10, you only get 54 back.
Yep.
Yes.
You get 64 in total, because you'll get 54 on top of the 10 that you put in. Yeah. So you win 54.
There we go. Exact same time. Mind meld. Let me ask you this. What do you think you win what do you think the odds are for 75 wins?
Plus 650.
Plus 880.
Okay.
They said they might get 74, but damn it, they're not getting 75.
76 wins they have odds for.
Plus 1,200.
Plus 1280.
Hey. Wow, there you go. He's on it.
And the
slowly
highest,
becoming a degenerate.
The highest they have, 77, which I think we're currently on pace for.
Plus 1,800.
Plus 2,000.
It is plus 2,500.
We're actually on pace for 78 now.
Now, I mean,
that's crazy.
hammer it. Great value right there, baby.
That's great.
Oh,
it's it's so crazy because like Focus, every time we win, he puts out the record of what we need to do to reach 74 wins. And it's just like after every game, you look at it and you're like, I can see us like maybe just losing 8 games in 54 games.
Like we've
It's
lost one in the first over a quarter of the season. It's like,
exactly like
is it not? I can't. I don't know. I continue to be like let's calm down. We're probably like I think 70 is very possible,
Yeah, you're
but
trying to be
74 is
objective.
so many wins. But it's
but
like the
here's
more
the here's
the longer it goes, I mean, we're on pace
yeah,
for 78.
Well, I saw today that ESPN metrics have us projected
to
or
be
have us as the
favored
favorites for every game the rest of the
except for
season.
one, right?
No, it's
No,
every game.
the metric was we're favored by at least 6. Like they've got like a predictor thing, like how often does the team win? We're favored to win 60%. Like they're like 60% chance the Thunder win in every single game except for the one, which is against the Rockets on the road in I think February. Like that's the one game where, and it's like
Probably back to
58% chance
back.
of us winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still favored to win though.
Yeah, still favored to win.
Jeez.
Real
Shout
quick,
out
I want to
my
put out
Shepherd.
there. Thunder starting lineup came out. Y'all want to? Y'all probably know what it is, but
All right, so I mean, if
Wiggins?
Dort's out, Hart's out, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say Shea, I'm gonna say Queso, I'm gonna say Wiggs, I'm gonna say Dub, I'm gonna say Chet.
AJ Mitchell instead of Wiggs.
Wow.
We're going small.
Well, it makes sense. Like Golden
Yeah.
State's lineup
Yeah, that's small themselves.
is Pods, Moody, Will
Yeah.
Richard, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. So
This is not helping my 6 man of the year agenda.
Hey, I mean, the stats are stats. Like people won't look into this and be like, oh, he his point per game total was amped up by that one game where he started against the Warriors and had 20. Like people won't look at that.
Dang it,
And
I did in 2020 whenever they was trying to give it to Lou Will instead of a Schroeder.
That's fair. I will say, I also think being part of like a good 6 man is being able to, jump into the starting lineup if your team needs you, if there's injuries. Like
Yeah.
I do think that's part of it too.
It's the spirit of the award, right?
Yeah.
All right, jumping into this preview because Alex has got to go. Just one quick thing, man. What is the thing that you are looking for tonight's game, Alex?
I'm looking for Golden State has always been a high turnover team. Regardless of how great of an offensive team they are, they do commit a lot of turnovers. So I'm just looking for the Thunder to take advantage of that. Hopefully in the first half, build up a big lead, and just kind of coast into in the second half, and maybe SGA sits another fourth quarter.
There we go. I love it. Hopefully he gets his 30 though. I need it for my parlay. So, Alex, have a good night, brother. We will see you maybe Friday.
Yeah, definitely.
All
or no, probably not. But we'll talk later.
Definitely to probably not. Very quick.
Bye, guys.
That was the
Thunder up.
kombucha girl gift.
See you, man.
All right, yeah, no, absolutely. Thunder are high octane, high turnover team, high creating turnover team. As you guys, I'm sure, wax poetic about Casey Wallace while I was gone.
Yes.
Colin, what is your big? What are you looking for in this game?
I'm looking for Dub to have like a really good game. I think this is a great opportunity for him. Like I don't think the Warriors really have like it's gonna be Jimmy on him, I would imagine, but obviously, with the NBA there's switching and everything like that. Actually, I mean, they might put Jimmy on. Who's gonna guard Shea? I guess
they'll
maybe
try to like start Moody or Kuminga on Shea.
It's because they're starting Will Richard, Moses Moody, Podziemski, Jimmy.
They start Will Richard, just like I said earlier.
We talked about that. I honestly think there's a war where they just put him on him and you're like, bro, figure it out. I don't know. I'm super intrigued to see what they do defensively on Shea. But I mean, they are undermanned, and this is not a great team on really either end all that much. They're super inconsistent. So I feel like this is an opportunity for Dub to really get going. I think he's going to have a really, really good game. Also, Chet just destroys the Warriors every single time.
Yeah.
I think this is a big Chet opportunity too. So I'm going to say Shea kind of has like a calm 25-30. Like he's, not going too crazy, gets to sit the fourth quarter. But I think this is a game where we could potentially get the first 20-20-20 from the big three this season.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Got 5 seconds left of the Celtics game. I need one cat rebound for my parlay to live. It's not looking great.
You're in a tough spot, man.
Yeah, what happened to him? He was getting like double-digit rebounds every game, and then like these last couple of games, it's like I'm barely going to get 8. And all I had him for was 8, and he's at 7 right now. It's like, what are we doing, man? Last time that we played the Warriors, Chet had 23 and 11. Granted, that was with iHeart. But as you said, like historically, Chet kills the Warriors. And specifically, like I think that there's a chance we break their spirit very early. Just because even without iHeart, even without Lou Dort, the Warriors are still completely overmatched by the Thunder's talent. And my big thing is I'm interested to see how quickly we turn this out. Like, is this a 3-quarter game, or is this one of those? Are we going to follow the trend that we had the last 3 games, and Shai's going to be playing into the 4th quarter, and we get to see another clutch performance?
I don't think the Warriors are gonna hold on that long. I think it's no Steph Curry against this defense. I think it's gonna be really, really hard for them. What's gonna keep them in the game potentially is Jimmy getting to the line and drawing contact, which he's really good at. But I just think this is one where we get into the 3rd quarter and we're up like 18 to 20 points, and the big game that I think Dub is going to have, he just takes over going to the 4th quarter. We get some vintage 4th quarter Dub, and Shea just never has to come off the bench. I think Shea's going to sit this one.
Jimmy pulls a Denny Avdia and just keeps the Warriors in the game.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the gauntlet we're running right now. It's like, here's Denny getting to the line a million times, and Jimmy as well. Like, I mean, you want to talk about guys to get to the free throw line? Those guys make it happen. Even more so than Shea, it feels like, relative to how much the ball is in their hands. So, yeah, just be disciplined. Don't give Jimmy all these free throws to get going, and propel them a little bit further. Don't make it any more difficult than it needs to be. But I think we'll be fine. I think this is gonna be a really rough game for Pods, who's not been great on the season. This feels like a chance for him to really struggle against this ball pressure. So.
Who do you think? I mean, obviously, aside from Jimmy Butler being their best player, when now that's going to be healthy in this game, which player do you expect from the Warriors to actually get something off against the Thunder?
Honestly, I think Will Richard maybe, because it feels it's Will Richard. I think he's been shooting really well. What is his 3-point percentage at this point? It was, last time I checked, it was in the low mid 40s. It's down to 38% now, but it feels like an opportunity. Like, he had 18 against the Rockets. I think against good defenses, he's someone who just ends up kind of open a lot of times, gets some of those corner 3 looks. I think Will Richard is someone that could have a decent game. I could also see Moses Moody. I think those are the two that, if they're going to stay in it, they need those two to shoot the ball really, really well. Obviously, also without Steph Curry. Also, I believe this is the game where Steph Curry is making his debut for the Warriors.
Oh, nice.
So if you want a sleeper name that could just go ballistic against us for no reason, Seth Curry is one of those guys.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Seth Curry. Yeah, Will Richard actually shot 3 of 5 against us, or 3 of 5 from 3 against us in our last meeting. So definitely has the makings of a Will Richard game. It feels like the guy that Shea draws on defense, that he helps a little bit too much, and he's open in the corner, like Shea likes to do. One of his few shortcomings.
Yeah.
But hey, he creates steals. He creates steals a lot of times too. So it's kind of like a give and take away type of thing.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a little bit of time if you want to, talk about what we're going to talk about, or we could save it for the next podcast if you want to kind of recoup before the game.
We can save it. I mean, we're going to talk draft stuff, and I think that's something that would be good to talk with the Tylers a little bit about. What would it be like for a top pick to go to the Thunder? Like, what would be the perspective around that and everything? So.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up this tweet just so everybody can look at it, because it's great to see. Let me find it here. I'm hearing myself echo.
That's hold on, I'll mute. Go ahead.
Okay. I was like, that was weird. Where did it go, man? I know it wasn't forever. Here it is. Booyah. This is beautiful. Feast your eyes count on this. This is amazing. Boom. We got the 1 pick, we got the 9 pick, and we got the 14 pick.
Package number 9, number 14, and number 1, and move up to number 0.
Move up to number 0. Let's break the system.
Yeah.
I guess real quick, we can, just for fun, to end the podcast, we can go to Tankathon and do a little do a little 10 sim action. Kind of see what we do in 10 sims.
Yeah.
Let me get it up here. Boom. All right, we are on Tankathon. Exit out of these ads because they're annoying. And let's send the lottery. See what we got. We got 6 and 9.
Oh no, we fall down all the way to number 6.
5 and 9. Looks like Philly kind of jumped out of that lottery spot. Yeah,
because Philly they beat up on the Wizards tonight. Number 3, Camp Boozer, welcome to Oklahoma City.
There we go. I heard that he absolutely cooked Florida tonight too.
Oh yeah, he fried them tonight.
7-10, 7-10. Oh, 17-14. Yeah,
welcome back, Philly.
Yeah. 6-9-14. 9-11-14.
Having a bad run of spins. There's number 4.
Yeah. There's a 4-10 on 14 wouldn't be awful, but missing out of the top 3 would be devastating.
And that's tough. Although, I mean, you got the 10th and the 14th pick if you want to move up a little bit. I wonder if teams would at all be hesitant to trade with us and give us, like, a spot up.
That's well, my bad. That's a good question. Let me refocus. Jesus. There we go. If you had like a 7-9-4 or not 7-9-14, 4-9-14, would that be enough? Like if you threw all of that at somebody to like try to jump up to number 3, would you do that?
It would probably be. I'd be willing to do it, but I think it would depend on the team ahead of you. Like if you can get like a squad that kind of needs a little bit more of an influx of young talent. And I think there's a world where you could get it done. It really just depends if anybody, ends up at that 4 spot that feels like they're in somewhat of the tier. Because obviously there's the top 3 right now. But if you could, if there is someone like a Koa Pete or, C-Dub or whoever that ends up in those types of conversations, then I think it's easier. But like there are teams that will probably be like, hey, we're cool with like y'all can have Camboose or give us 4, 9, and 14, like, and we get 3 shots in this lottery, which seems like there's a ton of talent. Like, I think a team could be willing to do that.
Yeah, like what team? I'm sorry to put you on the spot. What team would you say is a prime candidate for that?
Who could I see? I mean, honestly, like maybe new regime Dallas if they start to blow it up a little bit, and it's like I think a team. If there's anybody out there that just doesn't have their picks, like say Milwaukee sucks for some reason, they end up at number 3, and it's like they just don't have, any assets. Like they can get 3 cracks at the lottery and get 3 potentially impactful young players as opposed to just the 1. I think they might be willing to go ahead and do that. I think they're a team that we could see that with. Sacramento, maybe. I think the Kings could be intrigued if they blow it up and, they're starting this new era and it's like, okay, they could go ahead and draft one of the top guys, or if they still feel really good about whoever's at number 4, then I think they'd welcome the possibility, even though they still have their picks. Like if you can pretty quickly get a new influx of young talent to get the fans re-engaged, I think they'd consider doing that. Those feel like the top candidates,
right?
To me. If Brooklyn wants to draft 1 million rookies again, maybe them.
That worked out great for them.
Yeah, they drafted 5. I mean, if they want to get 3 extra picks, and do they have any extra ones? No, they just get 3. 8 first-round rookies in 2 seasons sounds good to me.
I was like, Danny Wolf's been hooping since they called him up.
Hey, he's been going crazy. Danny Wolf's been cooking. He's been maybe the most intriguing one so far. I don't know.
Yegor Dimon had a few good games too.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, that's true. Like against
crazy.
Philly, he had a really good end to the game against them where he hit quite a few shots. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough. Like there have been huge ups and downs, but Danny Wolf is one of those guys where so far I'm like, yeah, I could see a little bit of translating here, and he's actually a player. I feel like I'm still figuring out with everybody else. Like Drake Powell's been interesting too. They got interesting guys, but it's like nobody I feel super, super good about so far, which there's time.
Yeah, and last thing, talking about Brooklyn, do you think MPJ is a player that's going to end up getting traded before the end of the year?
I mean, I think they should consider. I think they could deal him this deadline. Like he is balling, and there are a lot of teams that could use. I think Detroit would love a guy like MPJ. Just bring someone in as like that volume 3-point shooter if Malik Beasley, isn't coming back. Like we still don't know what's going on with that. We have to see him get cleared. Like he'd be fun in Miami's system. I don't really know what the trade looks like there. The Magic could really use a guy like him. I don't, where does he fit in terms of that starting lineup? Not really. I don't think it makes sense, but just in terms of, he'd be a good fit on that team. Out west, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, the Nuggets would love to have him back.
Would love to have an MPJ. Lakers could honestly use a guy like him, although not really a defender, but if they just want to continue to go on the offense. Honestly, the Suns maybe even a little bit. Like if they're just like, hey, Jalen Green, if we can keep developing him and we still got Book, like adding a guy like MPJ, a little bit of extra juice offensively, and if you keep Grayson Allen, or maybe you flip Grayson Allen for him because Colin Gillespie feels like now he can take that role a little bit, and you just add another shooter because they're one of the best shooting teams in the league, and just to really go in on that strength. I think the Clippers would love to have Michael Porter Jr. right now, so maybe they try and make something happen with like John Collins' expiring contract. I don't know. There are a few teams that I could definitely see pursuing him, which is not what I expected going into the season.
So I was thinking about like maybe like the Spurs, like they try to
Spurs.
take, like,
I could see them using him too.
Harrison Barnes or like Keldon Johnson and like something else to get him or something like that. Like, if Wemby, obviously if he's not healthy, like there's no reason to make that kind of move this season. But
no, this feels like a good chance. I think some teams might wait because I'm sure Brooklyn likes to ask for high asking prices. We saw that with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Colin. Well, appreciate your time. It was good to see you again. Good to podcast with you again.
Yes, sir.
But everybody on the podcast, appreciate y'all for tapping in. We are now 10 minutes till the planned tip off. I don't know like when the actual tip off will be. We'll see about that. But I do want to give a shout out to our listeners because Cohen, I mentioned this on our last podcast before Thanksgiving. We are actually completely sold out of the Top of Thunder fan event tickets. We sold out of the first round, which they weren't supposed to re-up with us, but they were so shocked at how fast they sold out that we did it again. They put up another 50 tickets and those sold out in like a week. So shout out to you guys for doing that for us. Buying tickets to an awesome event at a great price. Like, congratulations, like doing yourself a favor. But also, like, this is going to be the biggest event that we've ever done. Like 150 is going to be a record for us. So very excited for that. It's going to be awesome. And just want to say appreciate you guys, because without you, this would not be possible. So with that being said, continue to support the channel. You guys have been supporting the channel. You've been supporting the podcast. Our plays, our downloads, everything is up. Like, we definitely appreciate that support. So continue that. Subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcast. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we go live. Comment on the video. Engage with the videos. Like the videos. Like, it helps us out a lot. Leave us a positive review on iTunes, Spotify. That would be awesome. 5-star rating. We would love that. And, we will continue to bring you guys fire content throughout the year. 2 podcasts a week. We're going to start turning out guests. Like I said, the Tywers from No Ceilings will be here Friday. I think next Friday we're going to have the guys from Nerd Sesh to come on here. Shout out to Carson, who has been preaching the gospel for the Thunder and Shea over the last few weeks. Excited to, kind of get his take on everything going on with the Thunder and, their in the landscape of the league and historical. Like, those guys are like encyclopedias when it comes to basketball knowledge. So I'm excited to, kind of pick their brain on that front. So with that being said, I'm done rambling. Hope you all have a great night. God bless. Hope when you can. Let's get us a W tonight. And as always, Thunder up.
Thunder up. Yawn right at the moment, man. You hate to see